Hi, everybody. Back for another chapter of Allies by Alan Gratz. Thank you, Scholastic, for letting us record these while we're dealing with the coronavirus. Next chapter I'm going to read to you today is entitled Rommel's Asparagus. James came down hard and fast, tumbling wildly. He bumped and rolled and cursed before thumping to a stop at the base of a tree, completely bundled up from head to toe in his parachute. He was dizzy, sore. James's leg burned and his left arm throbbed and his heart pounded a drumbeat in his chest. He shook his head to try and clear the cobwebs and remembered what he had to do next. Get free of the parachute, make sure no one saw you coming down. James wriggled and turned, trying to get at the buckles and latches that strapped him into his parachute harness, but he was hopelessly tangled. He was going to have to cut his way out. He twisted awkwardly and pulled out his knife. He had just started to saw his way through the strings when he heard a rustling sound nearby. He froze. Was it German soldiers? Were they coming were they combing the field for him already? It didn't do any good to sit here listening when he was all wrapped up like a present for them. At the risk of being heard, James hacked away at the parachute cords. The rustling sound got closer, closer. Footsteps. James could make them out clearly now. The strings were cut, but he was still tangled in the chute and couldn't see anything. He stabbed at the silk fabric and tore a long gash through multiple layers at once. Dark sky, tracer fire, spotlights. He was through. James blinked and gasped for air. No German soldier stood over him, but the footsteps were getting closer. It sounded like there were two of them, a patrol. James ripped a bigger opening for himself and struggled through. He needed his machine gun or his pistol, but one was still in its bag and the other was taped to him so he wouldn't drop it in the air. The pistol was closer to his hand and he chopped away at the tape that bound it. The footsteps came up right behind the tree he was leaning against. The pistol was free. James twisted around the tree trunk, fell to his elbows, and aimed right into the eyes of a cow chewing its cud. James put his head down in the grass. Stupid as it was, that cow had almost for real killed him. It had just about given him a heart attack. The cow lowed softly and moved away, its 4 feet, the two pairs of footsteps James had heard rustling in the grass. The cow wasn't a pair of German soldiers, and the tree James had leaned against wasn't a tree either. He saw that now. It was Rommel's asparagus. Rommel's asparagus were big poles with sharpened tops that the German Field Marshal Erwin Rommel had ordered planted in the ground, meant to gore Allied paratroopers and smash the Allied gliders that tried to land in the fields of Normandy. In aerial photos, they looked like asparagus growing out of the ground, which was how they'd gotten their name. James shuddered, thinking about how he'd just missed landing on this one. James took a deep breath and tried to calm down. His body ached, but he had to get going, move toward his target. But where was he? James, is that you? James jumped and nearly had another heart attack, but he recognized the voice at once. It was Sam. His friend emerged from the shadows, a dark silhouette against the glow from the anti aircraft guns. James and Sam hugged each other. James had never been so glad to see anybody in his whole life. Did you come down okay? James asked. I turned my ankle, said Sam, but I'll be okay. I lost all my heavy gear, though. Yeah, me too, James whispered. Hey, any idea where we are? I thought I saw another jumper hit a lake. It's not lakes. The Germans flooded the fields. James cursed. What am I doing here? He held up a finger at Sam. Don't say it. James shrugged. James collected his things. Come on, he whispered. Let's see if we can find somebody else and figure out where we are. They didn't see any more parachutes or jumpers. At the edge of the field, though, they found a sleepy 2-story farmhouse. The lights were off and no one moved inside. It was after midnight, after all. I don't remember this place from the aerial photographs they showed us, Sam whispered. Yeah, James said, but we're supposed to be protecting the 9th Battalion's flank. But where are they? And how are we supposed to know where we are? I suppose we could just go knock on their door and ask. James looked at Sam. Are you serious? What if there are Germans in there? Sam shrugged. Well, then we'll shoot them. He held up his machine gun. This is kind of what we came here for. You got any better ideas? James didn't, so they walked over to the farmhouse and knocked on the front door. All right, guys, hope you like that chapter. The next one is going to be called That Way. If you like what you heard, which I hope you do, make sure you subscribe to both of the channels over there, and we'll talk to you soon.